All right, so I have a little script here I need to read to make this official. This is Lauren Godimer, Chair of the Youth Commission. Today is September 22nd. It is now 7:39 p.m., and this is the meeting of our Youth Commission. Please allow me to confirm those members, staff, and anticipated participants are present and can hear me. I will be asking each participant to identify themselves so I can place your name next to your name on the call-in line. Your name's already there. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Elena Weiser. Elena. Elena, are you talking? You have to say here. Elena, are you there? We'll come back to Elena. Tracy, how do you pronounce your last name?
Cusick.
Cusick.
Here.
Here. Elena, do you hear us yet? Detective Nicole Buckley.
Here.
Chief Salvatore.
Here.
I think Elena is frozen. She's looking awfully still over there. Elena, can you hear us? Elena just texted me. She said, oh, I have to send her the info. She can't join. Hold on. Meeting number. Oh, Elena, we see your video. Do you see us? Elena. Hold on.
Oh, Elena said, can you email her the link again, Lauren?
Yep, I did. I emailed and texted. Normally our meetings start not this slowly. We meet in person and don't have technical difficulties. Who knows, maybe by the time Elena fixes her technical issues, Pearl still have joined us. At least we have a short agenda.
There she is.
Here we go. Elena. Oh, no, she's out. Oh, see Elena's name again.
All right, I'm here again. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I don't know what happened before. You were able to hear me and then I was gone.
Yep.
I couldn't hear you at all.
It happens. All right. So, after our roll call, Elena, when I say to say here, that's I think where we lost you. Elena Weiser.
Here.
We have no staff or invited speakers. Carlos Reynoso should be joining us shortly. I hereby declare that we have quorum and call this meeting to order. A copy of the agenda and any related materials have been posted to and can be found at the Town of Monroe's website, www.monroect.org, for public inspection. This public meeting is being conducted remotely in compliance with Section 1 of Governor Lamont's Executive Order Number 7B, dated March 14th, 2020, using GoToMeeting electronic conferencing technology. Using this technology, the public shall participate in real time in this meeting via computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone using the access information set forth on the meeting agenda. Please be advised that each meeting has unique participation information, so please be sure you have access to the correct meeting. Notice is hereby given that only 250 participants may access this remote electronic public meeting at any one time. Access to this meeting using this technology is granted solely by the technology provider on a first access basis and is not controlled by the Town of Monroe. While it is anticipated that we will not exceed the participant limit for this meeting, should it appear that we are approaching said limit so that any member of the public is denied access to this meeting, I, as the chairman, reserve the right to adjourn and continue the meeting at a later date using this technology appropriate to ensure all members of the public may participate. Please take notice of the following regarding this electronic public meeting. This meeting is being conducted in real time. This meeting is open to the public. Any member of the public may listen or view to this meeting anonymously. This meeting is being recorded, and we ask that you go on mute while you're not speaking, unless recognized to speak, that anything you do say or do is displayed on your screen may become part of the recording. The recording shall be posted to the town's website within 7 days. The recording shall be made available to the public within a reasonable amount of time in Town Hall or upon written request. This meeting shall follow standard parliamentary procedure. However, I ask all participants to follow these special rules in addition. Please mute your microphone to reduce background noise at any time you're not speaking. Prior to speaking on each occasion, each speaker shall clearly state their name and title for the record. Use the chat feature is prohibited and will not be considered during the meeting if in use. As set forth on the agenda, this meeting will feature public participation. I have not received any written comments from the public between the date of the agenda was posted through 1 hour before this meeting has started. We now turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, allow me to cover some ground rules of this remote meeting to ensure effective and clear conduct of our business and ensure an accurate recording. I, the chair, will introduce each matter on the agenda. If a vote is anticipated, I will ask for a motion in a second. After induction of the matter or upon motion, I will invite each member by name for discussion. After all members have had an opportunity to speak for the first time, I'll repeat the invite to each member in the same order until there's no further comment. Please hold your comments until all are recognized. Everyone will have an equal opportunity to speak. Upon the conclusion of discussion, I will call for a vote on the motion, if applicable, or take other action to conclude each matter of the agenda. All votes taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Please remember to mute your microphone, your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please also remember to speak clearly in a way that helps to generate accurate recording minutes. All right. Now that we've said all of that, does anyone have any questions?
No.
All right. So our first item on the agenda is actually to vote on our minutes from our last meeting, which Tracy, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when we vote on our meeting minutes, you have to have been present at the meeting where the minutes were taken place to vote. So while you are an active voting member today, you cannot vote on our meeting minutes from our last meeting since I didn't know you were on the commission. So we will wait and we can table that one for when Carlos comes. But I guess we could take a step back, and we do have a new youth commissioner, Tracy, who's joined us. I think you've all seen a text message or email telling us, but we have a new commissioner. Tracy, if you want to take a minute and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tracy Cusick. I've been in Monroe now for about 9 years. I have a daughter that graduated college, another son in college, and my youngest, Kaylee, is over at the high school. I'm friends with Elena and neighbors, and she got me to join with her, and this is my first meeting. So very nice to meet you all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Is that
A friend of Elena's. Uh-oh. We've got to watch out.
Yes, I was promised there'd be outings after, but apparently.
Yeah, she really suckered you.
Right.
why can't I see Chief's face?
He's not sharing his camera.
Yeah, I'm not in a camera mood today. Thank you.
Ready?
Chief doesn't want you to see every time he rolls your eyes at you.
No, this system doesn't really have a camera. I'm sorry.
Okay, we
Okay.
apology.
So let's see. So we have no public participation. The agenda is talk about trick or trunk, which at our meeting in May, we talked about doing trick or trunk on the Sunday before Halloween. So the 20th of October is when we had talked about doing trick or trunk. Tracy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the trick or trunk event.
Yes.
Yep.
The one at Massac?
Yep.
Yep.
So I actually got a call from somebody at Town Hall today. Probably should have paid more attention when I picked up, but I really thought actually someone was calling me back to schedule an appointment with Curtis, but the phone number. So I missed the guy's name, but somebody at Town Hall called, and he was with Ken and Ken got on the phone, and they wanted to let me know that the town as a whole supports and wants to work with us if we want to move forward with a trick or trunk event. So they know that so many things have been canceled. We haven't really been able to come together as a community a lot lately, that there's just so many other things going on that haven't been able to happen. And they want to work with us to try to find a way to help make trick or trunk happen. We do have to be compliant with our COVID rules. We have to be aware that, we are a town commission, so we're acting on behalf of the town. We have to be sure we're completely compliant. So anything we do for trick or trunk this year, assuming we choose to move forward, we do need to work with Town Hall to ensure we're completely compliant. That said, because we are the town, we are not likely going to be able to hold trick or trunk the way we've held it in the past. So, in the past, it's just been open, everybody can come, how many ever people show up, and we normally have at least 100 cars. If we did the event in the way we've done it in the past, we would have a maximum of 100 people who would be allowed to be there, which would obviously drastically decrease the number of people. Something else that Town Hall was interested in doing was trying to combine trick or trunk with the parade that the kids normally do from the library through Town Hall. So they had, talked about some different ways to do it, whether they did drive around, but there was concerns that if they drove around Town Hall, they could potentially impede emergency vehicles trying to leave in the parking lot. Walking through Town Hall's not open right now. So there's been a lot of things they've talked about. So when I was brainstorming earlier with Ken and the other gentleman at Town Hall, an idea that they had was that Trick or Trunk would become a drive-through event. And they were like, oh, we'll just do Trick or Trunk the way you normally do, but have the kids drive through. And I'm like, well, how do you do that if you have, the whole point is that it's the family comes, you decorate your car, and then it's those same people who've decorated the car going through and trick-or-treating. So an idea that they had was, instead of having the families decorate and hand out the candy, what if we reached out to various departments, commissions, departments at town hall, other commissions, and businesses in town, and asked them to set up to hand out candy, and that the families with the kids could drive through the parking lot and trick or treat from their cars. And they could still decorate their cars, go driving through. And their idea with that is, I know, Elaine, obviously, you know what graduation looks like since Martin graduated, but they also were thinking that, if folks decorated their cars while they were coming through, maybe then all the families wouldn't necessarily have to give out candy, but they could still drive through with decorated cars the way I guess they did it for Mastic High School. For graduation, a bunch of cars were decorated. So that was Town Hall's idea about Trick or Trunk. I'm not sure what your guys' thoughts are on that. Carlos, I see you've joined us. Welcome.
So Lauren, would that still have to be limited to 100 or no, because it's a drive-through?
Because it's a drive-through, it would not be. The amount of people set up outside, we would have to limit to 100, but that shouldn't be as complicated. And as many people could drive through.
We charge people to come drive through.
Yep.
And
so,
then whoever was volunteering to hand out candy would just supply the candy on their own.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So we could reach out to various departments in town hall. We could reach out to other commissions and ask them if they wanted to hand out candy. An idea that Ken and this other gentleman, I think his name is John or Jack or something, their idea was we could reach out to local businesses. It's also a nice way for businesses just to get their name out there. I know historically we've said we don't want businesses advertising at it. Part of my conversation with Ken earlier today, we definitely agreed maybe we waive that rule this year, obviously, if we want businesses to come. I do think the one rule that we do need to maintain regardless is we cannot have any type of political advertising, right? So we've always had that rule. We sent Jen's car away before when Jen was on youth commission and was running for state rep. We didn't let her have her car with her sticker on, or magnet on it. I think, especially given it's the weekend before the presidential election and there's some very polarizing people's thoughts on that, I think we do need to stay very true to at least that part of the rule, that we don't have political advertising. But I think that if businesses were going to give out candy, we would have to allow the business to, at least hang their banner or something. We can't tell them, come give out candy, but don't tell anybody who you are.
Just wanted to say hello. I apologize for being a bit late. I was on the field, as you probably can tell, with this gear on. I was at Chalk Hill, so here I am. Sorry. And my phone wasn't able to download. I have all the other platforms, by the way, but GoToMeeting's not one of them, I guess.
That's what happened too.
I had no room on my phone. It wanted me to get rid of other apps, and I'm like, I just got to get home. So sorry for the.
Fired.
What's that?
You're fired.
Okay. Don't we need another person talking about?
Get fired for years.
We do. We still have space for two.
Don't we need to recruit? Is that another agenda item? Recruitment?
Yeah.
But what are your guys' thoughts on doing Trick or Trunk as a drive-through?
Is that what Mastic is doing? Is that what we're part of? Are we part of however they do it, or are we completely separate?
We are the Trick or Trunk.
We are Trick or Trunk.
So, So one
Yep.
of the things that I was talking to Captain White earlier after he was upstairs with Ken Kellogg and Bill Holsworth and that group, is they also tabled whether or not we'd be willing to move it to actual Halloween, to that Saturday afternoon, and make it a Halloween event for the town, so that families are less likely to be going door to door, and that we'd be able to set up the parking lot like they did for graduation, every 2 spots, and then have people drive through. So the kids wouldn't get out of their vehicles, but they could roll down their windows, and anybody passing out candy would have to, comply with the mask and the glove rule, but could make it more of a town event. It may bring in a little bit more money for our Project Warmth if we're charging, per car that comes through to drive through. We may have a pretty good turnout if parents are worried too about sending their kids door to door for Halloween, and just make it an afternoon, early evening type event.
Yeah.
And then Alpha gave you confirming she was operating the vehicle around
What are
2:15.
some of the rest of your thoughts on that?
Halloween's on a Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that sounds like it might be a good idea. It would be in the afternoon.
Yeah. Whatever
I mean,
time you. I don't know what you guys, and I shared with Ken and the folks that called earlier. I know I've seen on some of the parent Facebook groups that parents in town still want to do Halloween. They don't want the town to tell them they're not allowed to. They still want to be able to send their kids trick-or-treating. I did share that with Ken. They listed to me all of the potential reasons why that's a bad idea. But, at that point, it becomes a personal decision. If you want your kid to go trick-or-treating in your neighborhood, that's on you as a parent, I guess. I don't know from a perspective of asking others to come and decorate and to hand out candy, like for companies or town and whatnot. I don't know if people would be inclined to do it on Friday itself or on Saturday itself. The other idea I had was, what if we just held with the 25th as our original date and use Halloween as a rain date, right? So I know Elena, God knows how many of these I've been to, at least 50% of the time, we either need the rain date or it rains like 30 seconds after we finish trick or trunk. So what are your guys' thoughts on when to have it?
I like that idea of keeping it on that date and having the rain date for Halloween.
Yeah,
I think people still are going to let their kids trick or treat from what I've seen also. I know our neighborhood probably will.
definitely. I like it.
I mean, I think it's important. I think it is important to have a rain date, because obviously, you don't know what the weather's going to be like. But I also am thinking, like, it would be great to have it on Halloween, because it would decrease, hopefully, or minimize the amount of trick-or-treaters at night on Saturday. Maybe if it's during the day and parents are like, okay, we did trick-or-treating already, it's done, we're not going to go out. Because I'm just picturing, like, for example, Great Oak Farms gets so many trick-or-treaters. That's one example. I know also, like, the area of 110, what's that up there? The like by Hillside.
Whitney.
That Whitney Farms, right? They get a lot of trick-or-treaters too. So I'm just thinking, like, messaging around to minimize, the amount of trick-or-treaters and contact and everything. Maybe folks come to the afternoon of Saturday the 31st or whatever. But I don't know. It's just tricky, because I do agree parents are still going to want to go, but maybe the younger kids. I'm just trying to think of ways to minimize,
Ones.
large numbers.
Schools are trying to do something.
Was that?
Do we know if schools are trying to do some version of their trick or trunks?
Good question. I know Stepney's done, or Fawn Hollow's done something in the past, right?
Right, a big one.
Big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something we might want to check out first, because if they're doing one, definitely check the dates.
Great point. Yeah. It's such an independent also, obviously people, they want to do Halloween, they're going to do it regardless. But there is going to be a large also amount of, on the other side of that, there's a lot of the older adults are not going to open their doors, right, to avoid contact. So that's going to suck too for the kids. So I really think we need to sell this whole idea of having this event, because yeah, it's just, those that typically I'm just thinking over the age of 60 or whatever, 65, who are at higher risk, or anybody with underlying health issues, they're not going to open their doors. They're going to be like, nope, lights off. I don't know. I just, isn't it crazy that it's scarier to have a mask off now than it is to have a mask on? You think about that? Trick or treating with no mask on and see what happens.
So what is the general consensus? And also, is there somebody who wants to take point on spearheading Trick or Trunk this year and coordinating with Town Hall? Not I.
What would that entail? I haven't done that before.
Well, this year it'll take coordinating with Ken and the other gentleman that Nicole mentioned that gave me the call, but coordinating with Town Hall to make sure that we're compliant with the COVID regulations. And then if we do this, also it would be reaching out to local businesses and other commissions and Town Hall departments. But Ken's idea was, we could reach out to the Rotary or to the Chamber and ask them, to send out something on our behalf, asking for volunteers or companies that wanted to volunteer and sign up. And I know that Ken and Vita have a list of all the town departments and the commissioners at Town Hall. So
it's to 100, right?
Yeah, there would be a max of 100. So their idea was you'd have a parking space, then there'd be 2 empty parking spaces. You could use the next one. So it'd be 1 out of every 3 parking spaces that you would utilize to hand out candy. And that would have to be capped at 100 people, but driving through it would be unlimited.
And I have to ask that, what is our liability here if, God forbid, if something, people?
You would have to ask Ken. I'm not sure, but I do know, based on the conversation I had with them and the conversation I had with Nicole, the town is 100% willing to support us doing this event. They know that, 1, it's a big fundraiser for Project Warmth, and 2, they really think that this could be an event that we could do that's completely COVID compliant, or at least COVID regulation compliant, I should say, that we would be able to, come together as a community to have a community event. We really haven't been able to do that. The town hasn't been able to throw a big event, and they feel like this is something that we would be able to do, and the town fully supports it. So they're on board with that liability is.
Did you see the playground association is doing that big ice cream sundae thing on the green?
Oh, I did not see it.
I think it's is it this? Yeah, it's this weekend. I think it's Saturday or Sunday, the 27th, I think. It's going to be an ice cream sundae event, and with Michelizzi's and ice cream sundaes with all the toppings, and you could either drive through and get it or come to the green and bring blankets and chairs and stuff. So I can talk to Mike Ganino too about what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're using the church property for that.
Yep. But in terms of the town and liability, the conversation today was we could definitely do it at Mastic. and it would be, the town is willing to take that liability and whatever comes with that. So Alina, are you volunteering to take point? I mean, I'm not disappearing and never helping you. And it used to be Jen. It was Jen and now it's me. It's not like you don't have the two of us on speed dial.
Where's Jen? Likes to do this still.
Don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right. And then what about the date? Do we have a consensus on, do we want to try for the Sunday before? Do we want to go with Halloween?
Let's
If
do
it's Halloween. All right. So if we do it on Halloween, would the day after be the rain date? Would we do the date?
That works. That works.
Hold it. Comments because it's recorded.
All right.
Self-
Elena, when town hall calls me tomorrow, I'm going to give them your name and number.
Okay.
Do we have to do a certain time? Is it going to be dark yet? Or does it have to
Sorry,
be
what'd you say, Tracy?
about how light it has to be outside? I don't know when the clocks move or anything.
So normally, hold on, I have all of my youth commission. I have my youth commission either here for a reason. Normally, trick or trunk, I was giving them time before I was making them up. Trick or trunk. I have a flyer. Elena, we even already have the flyer. Number code. I want to say, so Tracy, normally what we do is we open up the lot at 2 o'clock for people to decorate. Then trick-or-treating was at 3, and then we did a parade at 3:45. So, I mean, I'd imagine we could still do something like that. 2 o'clock people come, and then we say trick-or-treating from 3 to 4 or something. And $5 entrance fee to benefit Project Warm. At least we can take the line off that says no admittance unless distributing candy. That can come off the flyer.
So do we want to look at bumping it an hour or so later? So it's a little bit, it gets them a little bit more into the afternoon time frame. That way parents that have to work during the day may have more opportunity also.
So do
because we're going to have,
from,
say again, I'm sorry.
Trick-or-treating 4 to 5. Well, it is a Saturday.
So also it is a lit parking lot. So we do have access to the lights and stuff like that. So if it does start to, to get a little bit darker, we do have access. It is a well lit parking lot.
And Elena, and so I'm sure CERT would help with direct traffic, right? We've had them for a few years. I'm sure CERT would help.
I can reach out to CERT.
Perfect.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with CERT because it has to be approved by the state emergency management for the use of CERT. So I think the first selectman can make a couple of requests outside of an emergency, but they're limited as to how much they do because they are covered by the state for their activities. So they may not be available.
Okay, they have helped for the last 3 years.
I know, and they've been. I think they've been cautioned about some of the extra activities they've been involved in. But we can clear that up with tomorrow with the emergency management team. We'll look into that tomorrow for you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Elena, did you have a question?
No, I don't remember now. Oh, I know. Yeah. So we're the people, like the businesses that we're going to get to hopefully donate and pass out candy. They'll be decorating their cars?
That would be the thought, yeah.
Okay.
And the people who are going through and driving through could decorate too.
Right.
And there's one thing we have to remember also, that 100 participants, that includes anyone that's involved in it too, organizers and staff. So that number isn't just the kids and the parents, it also includes all staff or people working it.
Chief, the parents, I had a long discussion with Ken and about that before. The parents and kids do not count towards the 100. because they're driving through. The 100 would be whoever's standing in the parking lot giving out candy, or, you know, people who are directing traffic, but the parents and the kids would not count.
Right, but if you have any other activities, like you were indicating a parade or whatever, if they stop and they end up congregating, they have to be counted. So the idea
Yeah,
is to keep them moving.
I think the idea would just be the parade of cars.
Right, okay.
At least that's Ken's thought. Because if we did it outside, if we do it like we do normally, we do have to limit to 100, completely 100 people, and we're not going to raise nearly as much Project Warmth.
Right. Unfortunately.
So,
Anybody know who the principal at Fawn Hollow is now?
Yeah, it's Lee Ansis, isn't it? From,
Yes.
She used
Okay.
to be the vice principal at Chalky Hollow.
Yeah, I know her.
Right, Nicole?
Yes, that's correct.
It's your field, not mine.
Elena,
Oh.
they might not be.
What?
They might not have theirs.
Right.
Or
I'll
if
just.
they did. Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have anything on Trick or Trunk?
I'm sorry, did we decide on a time?
I thought everybody liked your idea of open the lot at 3 and do trick or treating from 4 to 5.
Okay.
I second that. Third, fourth.
Good.
All right. So the next thing on the agenda is to elect a new board. So we have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. I also share, I'm going to step, I do not wish to be reelected as the chair. I will be stepping down from the Youth Commission. I have some other things going on. So I will be resigning at the end of this month from Youth Commission. So I said Elena is our new chair. She has the longest.
Yeah. Here to do the trick or trunk? Really?
Well, I'll help with that for sure. I haven't been to it. I've only been to the Fawn Hollow one.
Thank
But
you. I was counting on you helping me with that.
This is my first meeting too.
So Carlos and Tracy, do either of you wish to be our vice chair or secretary? Seeing as how there are 3 of you in 3 positions.
So let me see. What
So the vice chair just fills in for the chair whenever the chair is not there and keeps track of the money. And then the secretary takes meeting minutes.
I mean, I'll take the if it's voted on. I mean, I'm willing to do the vice chair. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so someone could tell me what I'd have to do. I just don't know because this is the first meeting. It's taking meeting minutes, and who's doing that now?
Currently I am, because our secretary quit.
Oh, okay. Okay, as long as someone can tell me what to do, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Okay.
It is very easy. I even have a template. They just fill them in, type them up, and then you just email them out. It's very easy.
Okay. Sounds good.
I motion that Elena is our new chair, Carlos is vice chair, Tracy is secretary. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who is that?
Tracy.
Tracy.
Carlos, are you in favor?
Yes. Aye.
Chief, are you in favor?
Yes.
Elena, are you in favor?
Yes.
Great. So that is all in favor.
Did we ever vote, Warren? Did we vote on the minute?
No, Carlos is here now. We can do that. Carlos and Alina, you guys were it for our last meeting. Have you had a chance to review the minutes from May?
Yes,
I did.
I
Right.
move that,
So Alina, you motion?
And I,
yes.
and I second.
Right, and then I vote yes. Since we're the only ones who can vote, that's all in favor. Beautiful. Next on the agenda, I have to flip back to that, is our finances. So I think I had sent out an email over the summer. Our budget for the current year. So Tracy, our budget is the same. It's part of the town budget. So it goes with the same calendar as the town. So it goes July 1st of the current year through June 30th of the following year. So our 2020 to 2021 budget is $750. Town Hall really wanted to just keep things status quo. So we do have that $750. We also have a remaining $580.09 in our donation fund. Tracy, that donation fund is, we have gone to the town and we have permission as a commission to raise funds. So we can do various events or whatever we're doing. If we wanted to, somebody wanted to donate to the youth commission, we want to do something to raise money for ourselves, we have a separate line item in the town account that we're able to do that. So that money rolls over and that's ours until we use it. The budget has to be used in a given year. So last year, because COVID happened, we put, the spring got just put on hold like it did for everybody. So we didn't utilize like our whole town budget. So whatever is left from that, we forfeit back to the town. So last year we also had $750. We spent like half of it. The other half got given back to the town to be reallocated. So the $750 we have is a use it or lose it. One of the things we had planned on doing this year was, and normally we do an ice cream social for the incoming students at Jockey Hollow. Because of COVID, that didn't happen. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again next year, but we had planned on, we would buy the ice cream this year. So like that was supposed to be part of it. So now we have that money that we can re-spend on something else. And then something else that I can't remember. But yeah, so we have that. And then we have, the rest of the year. Normally the other event we do in the summer is Monroe Night at the Park, which Nicole spearheads on behalf of the entire town. And we normally have a table there, do things like give out bubbles. Elena harasses kids. We're bubble pushers. You tell your parents to stay away from people trying to give you free things like that, and then we're bubble pushers at an event. But no, we give out bubbles, get people's name and events we've done. Parent support group in the past, and other types of events. So that's what we can spend that funds on.
Oh, I have a question. Where does the candy come from that we give out? Is that where you get from the businesses?
Or Trick or Trunk?
Yes, Trick or Trunk.
Everybody brings their own candy. So historically, a family would come. So let's say Carlos's family came. Carlos's family would come. They would decorate their car. And then Carlos or his wife or one of his older kids would stay at the car to pass out candy. And then the rest of them would walk around and trick or treat at the other ones. So like for Trick or Trunk, we've not historically had any things to buy except the lawn signs, which we year after year. But a lot of our events are free or cheap, at least on our end.
Okay.
So then our next item on the agenda is, does anyone have any other ideas for the upcoming year?
So for the upcoming year, there are some things that I'll mention some of them with Adam afterwards, but there are some talks of some potential activities or events in the spring that Adam is going to help sponsor, and then maybe the Youth Commission would like to get involved as well. But a lot of it is going to be around social emotional learning and social emotional supports because of what the kids are facing during this pandemic. So possibly bringing in, via, obviously the virtual platform, speakers, presenters, those that can, do things online. We're definitely, and I'll talk later, more about freshman forum that'll be this fall, but obviously you're talking about next year. I think things around social, because we don't, as somebody made a great point, we really don't know what this is going to bring, as these kids who have been now, for the most part, been socially distant, and some of them socially disconnected, unfortunately, what it's going to bring later, right? Spring, and then even going into summer. So, and then fall. So there are those that are going to have a hard time adjusting going even back, right? Because some actually enjoy the isolation, believe it or not, right? So having to come back, and now there's going to be some social awkwardness, unfortunately. So that is all being talked about with Adam, but I think the Youth Commission can definitely, be a part of it. I know the budgets are much different. Adams right now, actually, because they got a grant, is healthy in regards to funding some things. So I would love the Youth Commission to just be of support, and even if we're, mentioned logos and supporting the event. By the way, I just saw the email, which is great news. I don't know if you got the school email. I'm sorry for interrupting the meeting, but that Joe Cobza has said that based on the stability of the indicators, that now low risk category. So as of October 5th, the K through 5 kids will be going back. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but that's awesome. I think that's good, but yet scary, right, for a lot of people too. So that may change some of what we decide to do, depending on how things go with that. So, but that's pretty cool. I know my 9-year-old will be happy to hear this.
Yeah,
So,
even my high schooler wants to get back, which is shocking. Like, she's ready.
yeah, I have a sophomore. She's been saying the same. She thinks it's corny that they only go 2 days a week, and she's like,
It's hard.
I don't see half of my other friends, because they're in the first cohort. So, yeah, so this is at least, some light at the end of this tunnel thus far. We'll see. We'll see. There was just an announcement in Bridgeport. I mean, besides the closures of some schools due to 2 weeks of quarantining because of cases, I know Hillcrest and Trumbull is one of them as well. There was one school in Bridgeport who is lacking teachers because the teachers are out, so they closed effectively.
Yeah, desperate for subs. Yeah.
So it's like it can also go the other direction with staff. So fingers crossed in Monroe and praying. But I think to answer your question, Lauren, I think we can jump on some of what Adam's going to be doing, because Adam's going to need the support too. I think it'll be great for Youth Commission to be a part of it.
Yep. Does anyone else have any ideas at this time? All right. Well, our next thing is a social services update, which we don't have anyone unless Chief or Nicole, do you have any updates on that? Social services? Okay.
No, we haven't heard anything.
Carlos, Adam?
So Adam, first and foremost, still, mourning the loss of Connie Crowell and her son Jack. So that was the first thing on the agenda. Obviously, it was our first meeting last. Correct me if I'm wrong, Elena. It was last Tuesday. Yes. And we're there. There's some new people that have joined on, which is great. That are going to be of support, but definitely the focus was first that Connie, is no longer with us, and with that being said, there has been talks of potentially having some kind of scholarship or something in her honor. Somebody mentioned maybe doing something in her behalf, but it all is going to depend also. Again, it'd have to be a consensus with Adam and things like that. But she didn't take Connie didn't take I don't know if you all know this, but it's public info that Connie was the chair of Adam receives a stipend for the work they do. That was something that was voted on about a year and a half ago, and she decided not to take the stipend back in 2019, including 2020. So for the whole school year, let's put it that way, she didn't take it. So she told our treasurer, who's Debbie Dragonetti, to just keep it in the Adam budget and that she wouldn't take it. With that being said, like that type of money and monies that people have donated to Adam, we've had 2 donors on behalf of Connie that donated money. So those types of monies and other monies, maybe we're able to do something on her behalf, in her honor. And then basically, we focused on the freshman forum, and we had both principals actually of Massick on. Both Steven was on, and so Steven, right? Yeah, Steven and Mark were both on, which was great, as well as Jack was on as well. And so we're definitely supporting the freshman forum. We're working on the details now. There's been a subcommittee formed with 3 individuals from Adam that will be putting it together with speakers. And of course, it's going to be virtual. And we're looking at sometime in November before Thanksgiving to roll that out. And again, the conversation around social emotional learning and social emotional things came up because of what we're dealing with the pandemic and what else. And so we're looking at that. There's also talks of putting together some kind of directory or like a resource guide for parents and students. And we're going off a template that was made by Brookfield's. I want to say some of the youth people that do work around with youth. So we're using a template. So Donna, one of our members, and Adam is working on that. And it would be something that we would obviously, the youth commission is going to be, would be mentioned, we'd have all the resources kind of listed in there. And it would be digital. It would be, used as a link, and also possibly hard copies if we have money to distribute it also in regards to a hard copy. But at least it will be something that people can turn to, depending on if it's mental health related, addiction related, if it's something around social emotional learning and things like that. So that's another project, and that's something that would be actually, Steven said that it would help them tremendously if that happened. I don't know if I'm missing anything else, Elena. I don't know. Go ahead.
You covered everything. I remember.
For the directory, which I saw, that's great. I thought that was a great resource. Back when Barb was in charge of social services, this had to be like 2 years ago, social services had an intern that was working on putting together a resource of all of the town resources. So it was probably not exactly what you guys are working on, but I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that might overlap. I don't know who's in charge of social services anymore and whatever happened to that, but that might be somebody you could reach out to, because they might have resources that either you guys haven't thought of, or heck, you can just copy and paste stuff and save from retyping some of it.
Yeah.
But that might be something that I don't know whatever happened to that.
Yeah, I'll shoot an email to Marianne and ask her if she has seen that. Maybe it's somewhere in the files that she may have, and the other I forget the other person's name who works with her. But yeah, I'll definitely mention that. Yeah, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel if something has been kind of drafted. But I mean the template that comes that we're able to use, that Brookfield is willing to share with us, is pretty cool, and it has a lot of updated stuff too, and it has actually not only numbers but also information on like to do in certain situations. So it's been, and it's a mix of social workers and therapists and different people that have put that together. Laura Clary, who is a social worker for the town of Weston. Laura is now an active member of Adams. She joined. I had reached out to her, and she reached out to me back and forth about some other projects, and so that's great because she lives in town and she's a trained social worker, so, and has some great resources to share.
Yeah, Laura's reached out to the Youth Commission too about wanting to help, and who knows, maybe hint that somebody could fill one of the open spots.
You just put it, yeah, you just put a thought of, okay.
For you, Carlos, relationship with her.
Work on some recruitment.
No, that's great. Chief and Nicole, do you guys have any updates for the police?
Go ahead, Nicole.
So we just hosted on Saturday our annual car seat checkup event. So we did have a decent turnout. So we are back in business for installing car seats and doing car seat inspections for families that are requesting them. Other than that, we are, if we can look into working with Parks and Rec in the future and trying to find something for our kids to do. We've had a lot of calls for service for kids riding bikes around town and just being places they don't need to be. I think we need to look into see if we can get something up and running, places for them to go, things for them to do, so they're not in and out of businesses where they shouldn't be, playing in grocery stores and the carts and chasing each other around and those kinds of things that they're getting themselves involved in. They're bored, I get it, there's nothing for them to do, but if we can look at working with Parks and Rec or some of the other agencies in town to see if we can find them a place to go to do something other than get themselves in trouble just because they're bored. So something to look to for the future.
I agree with that. I agree. I know I see, because I live by Village Square, I do see a lot of them hanging out by Village Square, and they, I love seeing them on their bikes, and obviously, that they're, but yeah, I agree with you, because sometimes they get themselves into trouble, and that comes from boredom. Yeah.
And even the safety issue, even if it's, we get together and we host a bike safety or something like that, they're doing wheelies across the road through 111 at rush hour. They're not being safe. I'm really surprised, knock on wood, that we haven't had any kids hit by cars yet on bicycles. But I'd rather be proactive with it and get them a place to go and something for them to do before we have that issue, or that the complaints get out of hand with the businesses, and then the businesses want us to take police action, because that kind of stinks for the kids too, because what are we going to do with a kid that's just bored?
I feel like I think that that's always been an issue, that kids are bored in town and have nothing to do. That's why we've been trying to do the youth center and everything forever. So if we, this just maybe exacerbated it, obviously, but if we could get something just even past the pandemic for kids, there's nothing to do for them, nothing for them to do in town.
Yeah, even if it's a small parcel, for a skate park or a bike park or something for them to do. Mm-hmm. They get in trouble when they ride through the park because the parents, the little kids, don't want them around. They don't want the bikes around. They're riding through the pavilion, they're, jumping off stuff, and they get in trouble there too, because they don't have their own space. But they tend to congregate at the park and, those kinds of places, in Village Square and Big Y parking lot and Stop and Shop parking lot. And then people are honking at them, people, they're in the way of vehicles and that kind of thing. So even if it's an open space, somewhere to do something with, I know funding is always an issue, but I know Parks and Rec usually has a lot of money at the beginning of the year. If we can, work with them to do something to get these kids something.
Even, are you looking primarily for outdoors? Open gym times could be something when things open back up a little more, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, something to get them out. They're not always, a lot of them are 13, 14, don't want mom and dad supervising. You know, we don't have any movie theaters. We don't really have any indoor activities. But yeah, even if it's something, you know, outdoors, an outdoor space for them, something.
Yeah, boredom. That's what I always heard.
Yeah. 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 You know
we
what?
got boredom with two of our members here.
Now we have a quorum. Now we have a quorum.
He's
There we go.
getting ready for Halloween. It's my black cat.
Now we have. We just recruited.
I just
We
had
need
to
a
jump
public.
dog out, ringing the bell like crazy.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say, I think a skate bike, skate / bike park would be that back area where they were gonna build the multi-purpose field, Parks and Recs at one time. I was asked to be on. This is when Ron Melissa was still with us. You know, may he rest in peace. But when Ron was with us, I was asked because I was part of the soccer board at one point, and I was asked to be a part of that whole committee that was looking at the field. And that may be an area right behind the tennis courts back there. Yeah, I think it would be. I'll reach out, or both Elena and I that were chair and vice chair, reach out to them and see what we can do. Maybe even Adam can be involved as well. Adam's got some money. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea because they need to, yeah, I'm with you. Knock on wood. Thank God that none of them have gotten injured thus far. So thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have anything else?
You can put it in the minutes that I'll reach out if you want. I'll reach out to Park and Rec and see if maybe I can get invited to the next one of their next meetings. And I'll put in that plan.
Yeah, I know Teresa Oliar is on the Parks and Rec Commission.
Make sure I'll harass her. We just got to meet at Last Drop Coffee Shop or whatever it's called.
Exactly. Probably right around after she drops her kids off at Stepney. See there? All right. So it is 8:42. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Tracy, are you in favor?
Yes.
Carlos, are you in favor?
Aye, aye.
I am too. That was the weirdest vote I've ever taken. Roll call to adjourn. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. It was a pleasure.
Nice
Have a great rest of your.
Just a quick question before we get off. Do you set the next date, or does Elena have to that one?
So we, as a youth commission, set them a year ago. And there are like a bunch of random things I've learned over the past few years. So like one of them is by the end of the year, you have to give town hall a list of your dates for the whole year. So October, November, and December, there's already dates. I will say I've been seeing an issue with, like specifically, we had that same issue last week. And when we met in May, on Thursdays at 7:30, there's multiple other commissions meeting. So it's like the Board of Finance, somebody else that's important. So the town can only have 2 virtual meetings at a time. So because of COVID, there's different rules. And then depending on how far in advance you have to change it, depends on when you can move it to, so that it's still a regular meeting and not a special meeting. But Vita's always really good at that. But I'll shoot you guys all an email with the remainder of the dates for the next 3 months. And some other things. And I mean, you all know how to get a hold of me, especially Elena. I'm not just going to disappear and never help out, but I have a lot of things going on, and 2020 showed me where my priorities really do need to lie. So
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.